Hello, everybody. My name is Lily, and today I'll be talking about social media brands and adapting a online personality. Just a quick little overview of the situation. Corporations are now adapting relatable personalities in online spaces. This means that they use casual language in order to connect with younger audiences. This strategy aims to help increase engagement while also generates large amounts of low-cost marketing. And I chose this trend because it's very visible in today's social media landscape, because everywhere you see every social media or every company has a social media presence. Additionally, this also shows like the shifting from professionalism to just like casual lifestyle engagement, and the this really shows that marketing teams are now operating like content creators instead of like regular advertisers, and they also show these engagement metrics such as like watch time and view count matter so much more than any other traditional presentation. And additionally, this also reveals how far brands would go just to stay relevant to the Gen Z generation. And this pressure to stay culturally relevant drive consistent content as well as show how brands intentionally use Gen Z's communication like style. So just a quick little like relevance and like why it matters. It really just matters because social media as a lifestyle is over, like people use social media like more than ever. Uh People use social media in order to discover new like content and other like like in other products, and it's also just increasing more as time goes on. And since these feeds are now algorithm driven, watch time and shares matter so much more than any other follower account. And additionally, these companies have also seen that higher engagement means higher sales and stronger brand loyalty. This matters for any marketers because this now has feeds that are like algorithm driven, and if brands fail to show up with these engaging and like relevant content, the risk being like pushed out like entirely of the algorithm. So they have to keep up with this trend. Just a quick little like uh timeline of events. Um Before 2013, social media was mainly used for announcements and customer service. So this usually means that they used a little bit more formal and it was more corporate. And if any company used uh, social media, it would just be just for those announcements. And then 2013 came along when Oreo posted their Dunk in the Dark during the 2013 Super Bowl. This generated 20,000 likes in minutes and produced over 50 50 million. Oh my God. 525 million in earned media impressions. And it also became the first major example of a brand that can act human and culturally aware in any situation. And then 2014 to 2017 saw the rise in real-time marketing, which means that social media platforms are now using Facebook reactions, Instagram stories, and retweets in order to respond quickly to these events, which led them to become even more visible in this like social media landscape. And it was really around 2017 to 2019 when brands began to have like social media identities. Um, and these like social media identities became very recognizable, and it began to allow companies to differentiate among other companies and still drive that engagement. And nowadays, we see the TikTok formation of these brand personalities, which really means that TikTok is really the main shift in for like marketing, and they're now shifting to creator style content, which means that they're trying to reward more authenticity and personality, and um, accounts are now having major storylines with running jokes in order to drive more engagement. And this really had a huge impact on marketing. Um, the first reason because a study showed that social media drives repeat purchases from a study from like a water bottle. I don't think it was water bottle, sorry. From a study from a water okay, sorry. From a study from a drink company, a social media report saw that 32.3% increase of repeat purchases from social media, a 21.2% increase from brand awareness, and a 25.9 increase of higher perceived value. Just this is all just from social media, which means over 80% of repurchase intention was influenced by social media, which is huge because the study showed that social media loyalty keeps brand perceived value and also strengthens brand awareness. This is what causes customers to repurchase. Additionally, marketing becomes more targeted and cost efficient. This really means that companies use Facebook and Instagram in order to, or sorry, Facebook and Instagram uses multiple different behavioral categories such as age, interest, jobs, etc., in order to read consumer behavior, and this helps marketers, you know, produce markets for that area. And 72% of marketers say that social media ads outperform uh, any other traditional targeted advertising, just like on TV or any other stuff. And additionally, social media ads increase conversation rates by 2 to 3 times % compared to regular banner ads. And this is huge because cost is a huge factor in each of these things. Um, because the average social media cost per click would be about 50 cents to $1.50, while a Google search cost per click would be about $4.66. And since social media ads cost 60 to 80% less than regular search ads, they can reach a more broader audience without stretching and they can stretch the budget more than any other regular ad. There's a couple examples of this like of big like social media brands, like personality brands. Wendy's is a huge social media brand. This really started in 2017 when they had their Twitter roast style personality when they uh, began to reply directly to consumers in order to roast them. And this really helped it stand out across like all social media platforms and set the standard for a new like voice in branding. And this was a huge for Wendy's. Engagement increased by 350% after Wendy's began adopting this persona. In these tweets individually ended up getting like 10 100K likes, like performing any other like other content. And they now have a national roast day, which generates millions of impressions every year. As we can see, consumer engagement had a huge spike according to this graph in revenue as after they had their shift in personality. Additionally, this also had a huge impact on revenue because in 2017, according to their report, their earnings increased by 33% in quarter 4 after this like campaign went viral. And they also gained just mass amounts of media revenue since news outlets and other like word of mouth started like generating sense of like their popularity. Slim Jim is another huge social media personality. Um, as we can see in 2019 or 2018 and 2019, they began to have the long boing gang persona. This really means that they just created a bunch of memes and began to generate a bunch of followers, which means they jumped from 5,000. followers to over 1.3 million in like a just a span of a year. And this in the Long Boy gang community drove massive amounts of daily interaction, and these memes also started spreading across multiple platforms. And this saw major impact on growth, since its parent company doesn't really release the metrics of just Slim Jim alone. We can still see that Slim Jim is one of the most top performing brands in this period, and also this just generated millions in earned social media revenue. Because anyway, and lastly, we have Duolingo. This is the most recent one in which they adapted a chaotic and comedic persona for its mascot Duo, leading fully into the meme culture of like which was like had it before. And drove a huge impact on engagement. This is one of the this is the most successful uh, brand personalities on TikTok, and their videos ended up consistently hitting 1 to 3 million views, outperforming any other traditional ad. And this really means that people would go searching for their videos without being forced to see it, which is huge for any company. And this really had a huge impact on revenue because because they had the highest impact on revenue. Sorry, they made the most amount of revenue during this period in which they reached about 369 million in 2022. And also apps, their app downloads surged as like each TikTok went viral. And this is also huge because this is all of this like revenue was generated by a small team that's all shot on an iPhone. Now, with any social media strategy, this also means that they are super uh now all social media strategies are sorry. So now going on to some more of the risks of this kind of social media marketing. Um, Burger King faced a huge amount of backlash after tweeting "Women belong in the kitchen" after they tried to promote a scholarship for female chefs. And this people thought this was like really tone deaf and disrespectful, which it was. And Burger King had to delete the tweet and issue a public apology after because it was so controversial. Additionally, Elf Cosmetics Elf Cosmetics has faced huge backlash after partnering with a controversial influencer who was a male comedian who uh, had a history of sexist jokes and harassment, and this was clashed with their reputation in female empowerment, and the we consider this in the stock that went like down like a lot after this backlash, and they had to pull away from the partnership to and avoid any other like further comment. And additionally, one of the biggest ones that I'm seeing right now is the Duolingo backlash with their AI. Right now, Duolingo is facing criticism after leaning too much into AI content, which broke emotional connections with fans with Duo. Um, they also so they put out a lot of AI content. If you look at their TikTok right now, and they also reports also surfaced that like Duo laying off a lot of their staff, which uh really severed the emotional connection people had with this company because of their because of their like generated revenue. Sorry, with their generated followers. So now we're going on to some future implications of brand personalities. I believe for the future that we will see an increase of authenticity. Authenticity. Um, It's because more audiences will grow more skeptical, which means brands will now be expected to remain consistent and genuine with voices across all platforms, with any like misalignment being punished instantly by audiences, as we can see through all those controversies. Um, And then I believe, okay, sorry. And then humanized content would become more standard. This means that brands without a personality may struggle more and more to become more visible in algorithm-driven like feeds, which means they would, without a personality, having being a brand without a personality would be no longer optional, and they will have to adapt with this and become up with a new personality that's um, just as engaging as all the rest of them. Additionally, one of the biggest things would be AI will complicate this like authenticity, which means that AI generated content can will increase the output, but it risks breaking that emotional connection with the viewers. And brands will need to find a strategy where they can use AI but not replace that human connectivity and emotion that like generates with this kind of content, because this entire thing relies directly on the emotional connection. And now, just for some final thoughts and conclusion, just to summarize my key points, what it's social media has transformed into the primary space where consumers discover and engage with brands, and brands will now adopt human and relatable personalities, and they're just stay visible in algorithm feeds. Case studies like Wendy's, Duolingo, and Slim Jim show how a personality can massively boost engagement, loyalty, and revenue. But the strategy also has risks. One tone deaf or bad partnership can create backlash and huge reputation damage that can almost never be reversed because people don't forget. And just a couple of like personal insights on this. I believe that the future of this trend depends on solely on authenticity. This is just because just this entire social media brand is just becoming human. It just depends on the human connection, and you can't do that through AI or just like repeating the same things over and over again. And this is also because like consumers will also continue to get better at spotting different these like marketing tactics. And if a brand relies like on humor without understanding the community and audience and of their buyers, this they will continue to fall behind. And those who build the trust as well as the emotional connection with the viewers will thrive in this landscape. And that is my presentation. Thank you so much for watching. And